Good morning and welcome to Heartland Dual Sport. We're in Southwest Missouri. Let's go ride. Good morning, and again, thanks for tuning in to Heartland Dual Sport. This is Dale, and this is going to be a continuation of the videos from Southwest Missouri. As a lot of you already know by now, I actually had some audio difficulties, so what should have been conversations with me and Woodsman and his boys are pretty much videos with no audio. I believe these next 2 or 3 videos, there's absolutely no audio. I mean, you can't even hear the bike on the engine on the bike or whatever, but either way, here nor there, it was a really awesome trip, and it's too good of stuff not to share with you guys, and I'm really happy that you've tuned in. And we're going to go ahead and talk about something that comes up every now and again, and just turn this into a nice little moto vlog, and we'll go from there and just make the best of it. I mean, you can't go wrong with an awesome trip like this. And again, the audio, that's something that I'm going to have to work out with my Cena down the road, and I've actually got a solution for it coming already. I just got some stuff in the mail today from Amazon, so this should be the last time that I'll end up with a bunch of video with no audio. But anyhow, one of the things that I want to talk to you about is dual sport motorcycles. You know, and I get asked the question pretty regular is, you know, what's some of the benefits of the dual sport? And this video right here is actually a perfect answer to that question. I mean, obviously one of the big things with the dual sport is you have a street legal motorcycle to begin with, and as you can see and what you've been watching so far in this video is us riding along on it's actually kind of an old highway that turns into a little bit less of a street, and it's still a street in Missouri that you can't ride a off-road vehicle on. So that being said, I mean, that's one of the big advantages of having a dual sport is you can actually ride on the streets. Me and my wife have had the discussion numerous times. She loves the four-wheelers, and I actually do enjoy the four-wheelers, and I've owned a lot of four-wheelers. She loves the four-wheelers, and I've actually owned quite a few three-wheelers and four-wheelers throughout my life. And here's one of the biggest deals, and for us, we live in town, and for us to ride anything out of our garage and down the street, it has to be street legal. Now, where I ended up owning a lot of the four-wheelers that I've had in the past is when I lived out in the country. We had 160 acres out southeast of Shawnee, and you could get on your four-wheeler and ride it all over the pastures. And for that matter, I mean, you could ride the old dirt roads down to the old country store and get gas, and I mean, nobody ever said anything about you riding an off-road vehicle out there, because everybody uses those type of vehicles to feed their cattle, hay their cattle, horses, whatever. So I mean, it's kind of viewed more like a vehicle of husbandry when you live out in the country. But when you live in the middle of town, it's considered a four-wheeler, and it's an off-road vehicle, and you're going to get a ticket and probably end up with the vehicle impounded. So I mean, for guys that live in town, and it's just, that's one of the number one benefits to the dual sport is you've actually got a fairly dirt-worthy vehicle that you can legally ride on the street. And as you can see, we're into the dirt roads now, and this is one of the other trails that we were able to ride while we was there visiting Frank and his crew of people. And you can just look and see how beautiful this is. And as we continue riding on this particular road, it's in the Mark Twain National Forest, and you can see along this dirt road there's a lot of different spurs, and these different spurs that lead off of this main dirt road going into the National Forest, you can ride your motorcycle anywhere. I mean, that's just one of the huge benefits of having the dual sport, and it just makes for a lot less problems, and that's one of the things that my wife and I have talked about a lot, even buying her a four-wheeler now, because we do end up it's just like this trip here, we actually, so that we'd have the camp with the dogs and everything else, we trailered the bike, and as you've seen in the video, the very first one, we can put the bike up on the front of the trailer. It's got that front deck, so you can get the bike there. But where we're camping at, it would be the same problem. Is there at the Roaring River State Park, no off-road vehicles are allowed in the park, i.e. a four-wheeler or whatever. And then to get to these trails, like the trails we're riding here, we took old highways and old roads back up into the Mark Twain National Forest. And that's just, you're not going to be able to do that with a four-wheeler. And I know that there's a lot of states that you can actually get four-wheelers tagged and ride them on the street legally, but Oklahoma's not one of those. So that's where, you know, like I say, that's just a huge selling point for me for the dual sport. Is you know, instead of having a four-wheeler in the garage that I can't legally even get out on, I mean, you can easily justify having a smaller vehicle, i.e. the motorcycle, instead of a four-wheeler in your garage. And then you know, you say you want to ride it to work to save gas. I mean, that's a whole nother point about the dual sport is you know, it's street legal, so you can ride it to work, but I mean, if you just take this one camping trip in particular right here, I mean, we've hauled the bikes to Southwest Missouri on the trailer, get there, set up camp, use the camper and stuff as base camp, and then ride out every day out of camp on a street legal vehicle that's actually dirt worthy. And then as we go on through this video, you're going to see we've gone from pretty much blacktop to a real nice dirt road, and we end up taking one of these spurs off. And a lot of these spurs, you're not going to be able to drive a vehicle on per se. Some of these spurs you get off down in here, you really do. You need a off-road vehicle or a four-wheeler or something like that. But again, the four-wheeler, you're not going to be able to ride it out of camp. You're going to have to trailer it back off in here somewhere. And again, a lot of these old dirt roads, you've got to have a vehicle that's tagged and legally street legal to even drive on the dirt roads. So I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's some off-road vehicle parts that we probably got on some of these single tracks as we keep on going through this series of videos, where you could probably ride an off-road vehicle legally. But you know, I mean, it just takes a lot of hassle out of the trip if you can just ride straight out of camp on whatever off-road vehicle you actually have, if it's street legal. So I mean, as you can see, we continue riding our dual sports, which are street legal, and we've gotten way back up here on some of these old single tracks, and it's just a super beautiful area, and it's just a huge matter of convenience knowing that you can actually ride back and forth through all these roads and the dirt roads, and then you get off in here in some of these single track areas where you wouldn't be able to drive a Jeep or whatever. I mean, it's just an awesome day. And I mean, this is just such a fun, family friendly sport to get involved in. As you can see, we've got Frank and his son Kevin, and then Kevin's buddy and Blake. We're just, you know, I mean, this is just good, clean family fun. I mean, that's a whole nother perk to this dual sport that a lot of people never even really think about is, you know, I mean, realistically, I could put my wife on the back of this bike, and whether she had a bike or not, you know, I mean, you can ride two up on these and still have a great time. I mean, there's a lot of guys like Riding Man, him and Mrs. Riding Man, they ride together a lot, two up, and they've been on some really good trails all over East Tennessee. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're going to be taking the Trans-American Trail this summer, and I don't want to give away his little secret, so I'll kind of hang on to this video for a little bit. But it's just a great way to spend some excellent family time You know, you don't have to, not everybody in the family has to own a motorcycle. And that's one of the things that me and Angie have talked about quite a bit is she kind of goes back and forth whether or not she wants to learn how to ride a motorcycle or ride on the back with me. And I'm actually good either way. I mean, we have a great time. One of the dilemmas that we do have currently is our animals. We got the 2 dogs that we end up taking to camp with us, and the 1 pup. I mean, he's not going to be able to stay at camp by himself for 4 or 5 hours while we go off and ride, because he'll scream and yell and act like the world's coming to an end if he can't actually see Angie. So that's something else that we're just going to have to deal with and kind of plan around. I mean, we could find a babysitter for him or something like that, but for the time being, we're just enjoying the time that we do get together, and that's one of the things that we did. And if I haven't told you already, look for a video coming up. This started out as a 3-day trip, and we ended up taking it and turned it into a 4-day trip. And man, it's just so beautiful out here, and that's what we did for, you know, part of the family fun on this particular trip is we ended up doing pretty much a full afternoon of hiking around with the dogs, and took the cameras out, and Angie got a bunch of pictures and stuff like that. But that'll be another video coming out shortly. And if you guys have not subscribed already, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe. If you like our video, give us a big thumbs up, and be sure to check in next week. We're going to be let's see here, today is, what is today? I think one of the next videos coming up for the show and tell is going to be the Garmin GPS Map 64 ST. So I'd like to encourage you to check that video out. It should be coming out this next Monday. And again, guys, if you like our video, give us a thumbs up. We always love to hear your comments, and we reply to everybody's comments. So feel free to leave a comment. Share this video with others. If you know some people going out to Southwest Missouri and they're debating on what kind of bike they want to get, or if you know anybody kind of debating maybe getting a dual sport or a 4-wheeler, give them this video. I mean, I think we've got some pretty good points as to the usefulness of having a dual sport. And again, as always, we appreciate you, every one of you, each and every one of you, and I hope you have a blessed week. Thank you.